Hey, I'm Jim Keaty. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we invited Tom Rosario, who's usually behind the scenes. He's going to be in front of the cameras, and we're going to be going over all of our digital content strategies and how we use that to get the most amount of money for our listings in the fastest amount of time. I'm very excited to share this with you. Let's jump right in. All right, guys, I'm here with Tommy Rosario, one of my best friends and business partners with Media Engage. And we decided, because we're having such good conversations behind the cameras, I decided to bring him in the front to kind of go over, all these digital strategies that we're testing out right now. It's just the world has changed, Tommy, and we're doing things that we never thought we would be doing. And but before we get into that, give us a little background of where you come from, because you got a unique perspective of how you got to real estate and working with us.
Yeah, so before I started in the real estate game or the real estate industry, I was previously working for the music industry. So I worked at a record label where I was just a producer of digital content.
What was that record label?
At the time, it was called 11-7 Records.
11-7.
Now it's actually, they've rebranded. They're now known as Better Noise. So they have a lot of really cool acts, legacy acts. Like, at the time they had like Motley Crue, Papa Roach.
So you got to, I know we talked before.
Yeah.
You were actually flying around and going to some of these concerts and filming them in the background and doing a lot of their videos.
Yeah. So my department, we had a lot of responsibilities. So our main responsibility was to handle the company's YouTube channel. And we had a channel called Louder Noise, which we grew from basically to zero. When I left, we probably were at 150,000 subscribers. So that was our main job, was to create content to bring awareness to the music industry and particularly our bands.
Right.
So we were building this subscribers with all this content that we created, and we treated it very much like a television channel. And then we took that and we would bring our bands into it and make content. So that was our main focus. Yeah. But then the other focus too, we would create like promos and sizzle reels for like concert tours. Essentially, what we're trying to do is sell bands. We're trying to sell records.
Is not too far off what you're doing now. We're trying to sell our agents, trying to sell our houses, right, and really build up that the public perspective on trying to get as much eyes as we can on these houses.
Absolutely.
And businesses, right?
Absolutely. It's all about really just capturing audiences. What kind of value do we bring to audiences, and have them follow us? Have them want us to be a part of the story. And so we did that I did it for a long while, and then I ended up having a family.
Tell them that story, because you were in New York City, working the music business, and then next thing you know, you've got
three kids,
right away, right?
Right. So my wife, she worked at a movie studio called Kaufman Astoria Studios, and I was working at the record label. We got pregnant, and then it was like, oh, you're having twins. And I was like, what? It was a shocker, right? And then that same year, after the girls were born, pregnant again with baby number 3. So we just had them back to back to back. Yeah. And I don't know if any of you have lived in New York City out there. I'm sure some of them listening to this podcast have, but you know how expensive it could be, especially with 3 kids. So, and it was hectic. We didn't have any help. We didn't have we had some family in town, but not immediate family. Right. So my wife's mom and her brother from Lafayette, Louisiana. So they were like, why don't you come and try this out over here? Right. So we ended up saying, you know what, let's do it. And so we sold our apartment, came down here, and I bought a house with Keaty Real Estate.
Yeah, so you actually fell into our funnel.
Right.
And we were able to close you, and that's how we met.
Well, exactly. And the reason why we fell into your funnel was because we looked at your websites. Mm-hmm. And so I thought your website was really cool, and you were the fastest to call us back. And so we were so impressed by that speed to lead, as I now know about, right? That we were like, well, these are the people we want to talk to. And plus, when we approached you guys, you just knew more about Acadiana. See, I didn't know anything about the town. Right. So it was very helpful to have people that knew everything about the city. And, bought a house, and I made a friend for life. So
yeah. Well, and it was cool because Tommy, he actually created a video for one of the agents that worked with you, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, this is another level. I've done a lot of videos, and we've done that in the past, but the quality of what you did was just beyond what I was used to seeing, and so that's how we started working together. And then we decided to. I think we were in Pecan Island at opening day, which was 3 years ago today.
Yeah, about 4 almost.
Four years ago today.
Yeah.
We're in Pecan Island, opening day, duck season, sitting around a fire, and we came up with this wild business plan.
Yeah, that's right. And then if you look at our logo, which I have on my T-shirt right here, there's a little fire. And that symbolizes the fire we were standing around talking and how we created the whole company. So
let's talk. We got a lot to talk about, but
sure.
let's break down what is Media Engage and what's the purpose.
So you know how businesses really need to communicate with audiences. They really need to build their brand. They really need to communicate what their value is, what they're trying to accomplish within the business, but also how they're going to help the community. You know that a lot of businesses need that type of help. And that's what we do. We help them with that. So we help them communicate their value, their brand, their story to the public.
Yeah.
But in a very unique way, in a way that would then ultimately bring them customers and hopefully lifelong partnerships.
Right. So it's engaging the media with all your content.
Exactly.
Right?
That was the big keyword at the time, and it still is. You know, we were like around that campfire, like, what is the name that, or the buzzword that we all need? And it's all engagement. How do we engage with people? Yeah. So that's
without engagement, there is no sale.
Right.
You know, and with real estate, I mean, you can engage on face to face, you can do it on a phone call, or you can do it in social media now, which is relatively new in the last decade and is exploding and is becoming more and more part of the what you have to do in order to stay out there, because people are getting bombarded with stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate yourself and stay ahead of the game?
Yeah. So it's like, years ago when I was working on the record label, like it was relatively new, this whole avenue, right? And it opened up a new pathway for me in my career to be able to help people out, and it's over the years, it's just gotten more and more saturated. Mm-hmm. But then again, like for the people out there that might be thinking, well, I can't get into the game. There's too many people out there. That might dissuade some people. It might scare some people. But the thing is that, that's the way we communicate now. You have to do it. And the cool thing about all of this is that everyone has a unique perspective. And your perspective, whatever it may be, whether you're a broker, an agent, mortgage lender, doesn't matter, is very unique because you are you, right? There's only one you, and you should put yourself out there, and how you can help others that are out there right now that could benefit from your knowledge and skills.
That's right.
It's just turning that on.
It's a way to scale your knowledge and get it out there even further, right?
Absolutely. It's communicating at mass. Like you put one piece of content out, and that might make 100 views, a couple of thousand views, but you keep on doing that over and over and over again, and now you're compounding, and now over time you're reaching thousands and thousands of people within your community directly.
Well, and I think people also, we've talked about this a lot, that their definition of success on a video is wrong. Like, we talk about this, like you might do a market update video or any type of tip video or whatever, and you say, well, I only had a few people look at it or whatever. But what you don't see at that moment is how long that video can stay out there if you do it right.
Yeah.
If you put it on social media and then it's gone in 2 weeks, then you're not doing it right. But if you have all the processes in place, which we're going to unpack today,
sure,
how effective one video that when you put it out 1 week might have only got a few views, but over the next 24 months, you've actually made an impact on people who are searching for that exact topic, right?
Yeah, and some people will be like, well, I only got 200 views. I'm like, okay, but what if from that 200 people that watched it, you got a client?
Yeah.
You got someone that you were able to make a deal with and make a friendship out of. I think vanity, we call them vanity views. Mm-hmm. They're cool, right? You want to have those high metric numbers. But like we had this case actually a couple of weeks ago where we had a video that we put out that went viral. And I remember you asked me like, well, how does that help? And I'm like, well, I think it's great because it showcases the company and the culture, and it's just a cool place, and it's about you. It's a funny video. If you guys haven't seen it, come check it out on our page. It's it's
bizarre. Like I would have never thought that video would have been the video that went viral. And Angelica, we got to give props to Angelica because she put it together. It was just a funny, video we did for Halloween, and it literally got over 2 million views and 100,000 comments.
Yeah,
like I'm glad and thankful that they were good comments.
Oh, I
don't know if I could handle 100,000 bad comments, but they were all very positive.
It was all positive, and some people were like, well, we're not really communicating our our processes or how we sell. I'm like, but that's just part of the story, right? It's part of like, oh yeah, the company culture that we have here at Keaty Real Estate and how we all work together and how you as a leader, you have our love and respect. So I think that's the value in that piece of content. But of course, that same week we're putting out how we help buyers, how do we help sellers, and those videos are not getting 2-3 million views. Those are getting maybe like 1,000 views. Maybe they get a couple of hundred views. But
we also we got a lot more followers through that viral video, which was just for fun.
Absolutely, we did that for fun, and yes, we increased our followers on Facebook, and now they're looking at all the other stuff. So, I think it all works together, and what I tell like my clients and my business partners and my coworkers, it's like, well, with me, my colleagues too, it's like a mosaic, right? When we create these content ecosystems, and we can get into more of the ecosystem in a minute, but when we create these things, it's like a mosaic, and a mosaic painting is usually a collection of dots that are or tiles, depending on who's the artist, right? But there are all these little pieces that go together. And at first, it doesn't look like much. But once that mosaic starts to really fill out and you take a step back, you're going to see the bigger picture. And and what I do is I like to say that I create mosaics for brands, and that's my game. I love building brands. And we just have to make all these little dots that are all connected together to make one picture that is the business of the company.
That's beautiful, and that's a great analogy, because that one dot on its own may not make the big impact, but it's just a piece of the puzzle to really get the brand across or whatever you're trying to accomplish. And let's talk about this, because we're going to unpack some strategies, and we're going to look at some stuff that you're working on digitally, so to how to get the biggest impact, and make the biggest noise. But I think it's important why we created Media Engage, and the concept was, but besides engagement, I think everybody knows they need to engage. Like, there's no business out there that's like, that I don't need to do that. No. But what's the problem? The problem is, we've got like 4 different challenges that everybody's dealing with. Number one is, video is super expensive. Like, having a production crew and getting things done is expensive. Number 2 is they don't know what to say. A lot of times people don't even know what they say when they already have it inside of them. They just need to let it out, but they don't know where to start, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they don't have the direction. Number 3 is once they shoot the video, they don't know what to do with the video. And then it just becomes a dot that gets lost, and it's not, part of that mosaic. And then what was the 4th one? So we got, they don't know what to say. It's expensive. They don't know what to say.
Yeah.
They don't like the way they look or the way they sound.
Right.
So those are the 4 challenges that everybody has.
Sure.
And some of the best looking people and the best sounding people, they struggle the most with. They don't like the way they look, or they don't like the way they sound, right?
Right, absolutely. I
mean, so what's your strategy on that, and what's your take, and what are we trying to change there?
So, let's start with the expensive part. Let's say go back 5 years. Yes, it was all very unattainable. It was very expensive. But now with the advances in technology, especially with smartphones and lighting and audio capture, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can make it yourself, and at Media Engage, like, we absolutely encourage that, and we have like tutorials that we make that, hey, this is how you can do it on your own. Mm-hmm. If you want to hire us to make more high quality content, absolutely, we're there for you. But you don't need to necessarily to start. You don't need to have a huge budget. You can start small. Yeah. But the important part there is to start. Now, when we talk about, I don't like the way I look, or I don't like the way I sound, that's just who you look like, and that's how you sound like. You kind of have to get over that. I know that's probably for most people the hardest part, but if you can break through that barrier and just say, you know what, you just got to break through it. I mean, I'm the same way. I don't like the way I sound or look, or I thought I looked better 20 years ago. Of course I did. But now it's like, that's just who I am. And I'm not going to get any younger. This is the best I'm going to look right now in the moment. Right. But the point is just get out there and do it. Now,
20 years from now, you're going to be looking at yourself and you're like, what was I thinking?
Man, I look awesome. I look really great. If you do a video right now, and let's say I'm dating myself, I'm in my late 30s, about to be 40. I know for a fact in 10 years, I'm going to be like, man, Tom, you look really good when you were 40, right? So just like, you got to get over that self-consciousness, I guess, like that, a little bit of that. get over that. And the way that helps you is to have some sort of coach or director. And that's what I do, especially with my clients, my people. Like I just try to like, you know, get them in the zone and like hype them up and say, no, this is, you look great. You sound great. Get over it. But this is what you're going to say. So we do provide a lot of scripts that you can just follow along on a teleprompter, and that's really helps them out, you know. And a lot of the people that started with me started with teleprompters, but over time they just lose a teleprompter because now they got it. The point is practice. You don't get really good at something unless you're doing it every day. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're trying to play guitar, you're trying to play piano, you're trying to, you know, type up an essay. The more you do it, the better you will become. The point of it is that you just got to get out and do it.
If you don't do it, you're not going to get better. Right?
Exactly. So if you're not doing it, and you know, there is an option around that right now that I'm seeing a lot of content right now, and they call it faceless content. So essentially, you don't have to necessarily be in the video or be in the content. You just have to like just put something out there. And I've seen a lot of people just using graphics, which we do provide our agents here at Keaty Real Estate with cool graphics, informational content, written up content like blogs, or just like point the camera the other way. For example, my realtors out there, there's no reason why you couldn't go with a cool little, with your smartphone and go and make a video or a live stream at an open house or at a listing that you have and just talk. They don't have to see you. You know, you can just focus on what you deem matters, which in that point would be the home. Right. You know, so there are options for those people that might be really scared, but maybe they can kind of start doing that, and that way they can warm up to then turning that camera around and really be a part of the conversation, because people need to see you, they need to hear you, because when they do that, they'll get to know you. Yeah. And that way, the next time that you actually have a conversation or a true engagement or appointment, they're going to feel like they've known you for weeks and you met them the first time, you know, ever.
And you know, I've always been in that same situation. Nobody likes the way they look and everything else, but just doing it and consistently having that non-negotiable of like, hey, look, we're going to be shooting, you know, whatever it is, consistently over and over, like market updates, which, you know, we have been really time consuming and expensive, and we're trying to learn and have cut it down so that it's doable.
Absolutely.
Very like at a mass scale. So, but there are tools that you can use that can actually give you more confidence and make the video look better, even just with your phone. Like I know for a fact that like when we're doing, you know, tours of the house, I mean, you can take your phone out and just do a Facebook Live or live video stream of that house of you doing it. But if you add a gimbal to that, it's going to smooth it out and it's going to look a little bit better. And you don't have to have a videographer. No. Another really important piece to the puzzle is the audio. Audio can make a big difference when you're shooting something. And so just by investing in a little mic to hook up can really change the quality of the video at the end. So if you add a gimbal, then you add a mic, now even though it's you shooting it and it's not a professional shoot, you can really make it look good. And I mean, dude, the all of the apps these days and all the things you can do to a video, and it's important to do every format, right? So it used to be, okay, we want, landscape. Now it's got to be vertical to fit into all those different platforms. Yeah. So one of the big things that happened over the summer, and it's been slowly kind of happening over the past 2 years, is the incorporation of what they'll call vertical video, 9:16, right? And so anyone that's checked out TikTok or Instagram Reels, that's the format we're talking about. All platforms basically has prioritized that format. And so now we're seeing a huge rise. And in fact, I was one of the people that was very much against it, because I like shooting with these cameras that like the ones we have now, which is that horizontal 16:9 format. And I was like, I'm not shooting this stuff. I don't, it doesn't look right. It doesn't show the picture the way it's supposed to be. So I was one of the people that was like totally pushing back against it. But then we started seeing how the algorithms work and how they favor these videos. And then I started seeing creators make beautiful videos in that format. And that inspired me to say, you know what, I got to let go of that hard-headedness, right? Yeah. And say, no, we got to figure out a way how to use this new format, how to engage with people and go for it. And so we've started doing that. And as I said before in this conversation, we have a video that's gone viral. When we did this first podcast with Bill Baque, we made reels, we made clips from this podcast, and we put it on our Instagram page. And the first one had 8,000 views off the rip, And I think that was like, whoa,
okay. So these are all eye openers for me. And now, you know, we've actually bought the equipment that we needed so we can start shooting true vertical videos. And so I guess the moral of that story for me was like, we can't be always pushing back. I don't want to do that. We just kind of have to like go with the flow and understand it, because especially our young audiences out there, that's how they're consuming content. So if that's what they're doing, that's where they're at, we need to be there.
Yeah, well, let's unpack that. Like, so let's get over the fact that, you know, it's too expensive and you don't look good, because we know you can do it, you know, affordable.
Oh, yeah.
We know that you've just got to get over the way you look and the way you sound. So let's talk about like what are the things that, you know, you should be doing once you have the video. Where are you breaking that out now, and what's the strategy that you're finding that's got the biggest impact right now?
So would it be that depends on what is it that we're trying to do. So I'm always looking at like, okay, so what is our target? Like, what is your goal? So that's all. Everything that I like to do is based off of goals.
Yeah.
So if you tell me, let's say, give me a goal that you want to do, and we can get into that. So like, give me an example.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about like you know, the property. Like
okay,
we're doing a building in New Orleans right now that we're converting into condos and selling them off. Let's discuss that. Like, when we know our target market is, you know, we've got about 3 different buyers that are looking for that. Like, we know that investors that want to have a short-term rental. Okay. And then we have people like us that maybe like going to the Saints game, Mardi Gras, want to use it, but also supplement some of the costs with short-term rentals. And then we have like medical students, people who are going to New Orleans and they're going to live there for a while. They're going to long-term rent it, and then afterwards turn it into a investment. Yeah,
I think we missed one there too. I'm not sure, but it was what about like people that are renting? That maybe they're tired of renting. Yeah, maybe they want to own an apartment.
Own an apartment, luxury apartment, sure. And they want to live in the luxury style high rise.
And if you look at the numbers, it's probably a lot more affordable to actually own a place than to hit like the notes on a rent right now, as we see in the numbers. So with that, let's say that's our goal. Our goal is to essentially, for us as the real estate agency, we want to be able to capture these people. I want to capture people and just raise awareness of like, hey, we got this amazing property.
Yeah, so this project is really about capturing leads and really getting people to sign up that we can reach out to.
Absolutely.
Not every video we do is like that. A lot of them, like market updates, is really just about building a brand and sharing that information and building authority and trust through video content. And so in this case, we're talking about like, hey, let's market a property and let's try to get some leads.
Absolutely. So with that, we have, we've been working on this for quite a couple of years now, how to make like the most optimal listing strategy.
Our listing optimization strategy. Yeah. And for all my agents here, I know, you know, we've got checklists galore, and then we've created tutorials on each one, but it changes.
It does change because like the algorithms change, the way people are searching changes. But the one thing that we do know is that, you know, Google, number one, is the powerhouse when it comes to searchability, right? People are always going on Google. I know I do.
Well, not just the powerhouse, they're also our friend. Like Google wants to help the local guy. Yep. You know, they're not competing against us. They're not a Zillow. They're not a Realtor.com. They're not trying to sell us leads. They literally are trying to drive traffic to the people who are putting the best content out there. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
So I think that's interesting, because some people are like, oh, it's a big bad Google. Google is your friend.
Absolutely.
Google is the only person the only entity out there that wants to help the local guys.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people are following suit, like Facebook and Instagram, you know, but like Google is the number one. So, all right. So when it comes to our optimization strategy, like obviously the first thing we need to do is, all right, well, we just talked about, we just have to identify what the target is, right? Okay, our target audience for this particular property, let's say it was short-term rentals, right? That's the way we're leading this whole deal. So, okay, we need to create video. We need to create video of the property. We're going to take amazing photos of those properties. So as real estate professionals, you know that you have to have these places beautifully staged, because the way we approach this is that it's a product. And it's the same thing that we go back to when I was working at the record label. What are we selling? We're selling a product. Before I was working at the record label, I was working with tech. It's a product. So in real estate, no different. It is a product. We have these units. There's a lot of them, and they're all products. So what are you going to do with the product? We're going to make it beautiful, as pretty as we can make it, right? We're going to dress them up, clean them up, paint them, do what we have to do to make it look their best. Then we're going to go in there, and we're going to take amazing photos. And then we're going to go in there and take amazing videos. And after we get all those videos, we're going to get the real estate agent, and we're going to create some hooks. All right. That's a big thing right now, is that you have to have captivating hooks, because, most people don't have really long attention spans. They might give us 5 seconds of their time to give our opening presentation if they want to stay and find out more. So we created multiple hooks. We shot them out there with our lead agent in New Orleans, which is Rachel North. And I'm going to show you some examples of what that looks like. And so once we have all of that content, now what we do with it, right?
Right.
So one of the
that's the other part. Okay,
so
now I got the content.
So we made the scripts, we shot it all out, we created all the copy, we did all this stuff for you. Okay, great. Now what's the next phase? A lot of times I would see people they'll just post it up on YouTube or maybe post it on Instagram, and that's it.
Yeah.
And yes, that it will die if you stop there.
Right.
But in order for this to live on,
and it has to go there.
Oh, 100%.
We're not saying not go there,
yeah.
But you got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy to get the most out of that video, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So, the main thing after that, so we have the content. All right, yes, we are going to put it on our social media feed, but there's a lot more to that, and we're going to get into that right now. So, usually, what we do is we want to create magnets, and I call them lead magnets. So the video is a magnet, right? You're going to put it out there. People are going to see it. They're going to like it. They're going to comment on it. But in those videos, there needs to be a link to drive them somewhere, right? You want to take them to give them even more information, because these videos are relatively short, like some of them are 30 seconds, 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. Not enough time to actually divulge all of the information that these properties have. And so I'm going to jump over here to my laptop and kind of show you some examples of what we do here at Keaty Real Estate and Media Engage. Is that, yes, we're going to have the video that's going to be on YouTube. And when they watch that video and they engage with it and they're like, wow, this does look more, I do want to learn more. And they click on a link, they're going to end up going to what we call a squeeze page, right? So these are sites that we built out. And then we have extra videos that are going to be in that site where we have the agent talking even more about it. And then we have what we call they're like urgent, like we create some urgency here. Mm-hmm. We want to showcase that, yes, this is the best investment opportunity in New Orleans, and these are some of the incentives that we have for our clients. And if they're interested from that point, so we have the amazing video that we shot and we put online, and they love that, they click on that, they lead here, they find out even more information from the agent, and then they see these incentives, like, yes, I want to learn more. And if they just click on it, it's going to take them to this conversation that we built out on the page, and it's going to ask them for their email address. It's going to show them some more images of the property. And if we keep on going down, it's going to keep on with these questions and have this conversation. So now we're actually really engaging in a very interesting way. So after they go ahead and fill out this short form, probably takes them about a minute to complete, and they're like, wow, this is great. It's going to unlock and then send them to an actual website that we built out. And in that website, it's going to have a video which showcases, if I play this, let me kind of show you let's see what that looks like if it plays for me. That's not playing for me, but that's a looped video that showcases all the properties, and it has all the information, right? What the ROI would be, what are the incentives. That's the great video right here that we shot. So we use that as the ad, but it's also here again if they want to watch it, featuring Rachel. And then they have all the floor plans and all the information that they can possibly get. And of course, at the bottom, there's more capture forms if they want to. We already got their.
By this time, we got their information, and we're calling them as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
That is still the top, strategy is if you get a lead, speed the lead, you got to call them immediately. And, we have a lot of people out there who fill out forms and they come to our website and they say, well, we get complaints like, hey, why are you bothering me? Well, we really just want to help. We want to make sure that if you're looking for something, we can help you get the absolute best deal and make sure we can, whatever your goal is, help you with that goal. So it's not about bothering them. We're not trying to necessarily sell anything other than just be there for them. So we don't ever want to drop the ball.
Right.
And that's what we tell people. Like, hey, look, my mom always complains too, because she's like, Jim, I don't like going to your website because I have to sign in. I never remember my password. And, I find, every now and then I say, well, are you buying a house? She says, no. And I'm like, okay, well, we are really trying to get in touch with people who want to buy a house or buy a property or buy a building or an investment, real estate investment. So it's, some people say, well, they don't like to get squeezed. We also do ads and we do branding and we put all this information out in the world for free. But we also want to be able to talk to these people who are looking for properties.
Absolutely. And, the cool thing here with this kind of campaign, we also have, if you go up to the top of the page where it says virtual tour, it's going to lead you to our Paradigm page or our Keaty AI page, rather. And it has the same type of deal. This is not a squeeze page. You can actually come here and check it out. And this is all linked to our MLS and all that stuff. So
and we have this on MLS. It gets syndicated to you know, like 1,000 other real estate sites across the country, so that anyone thinking about buying or selling in New Orleans or thinking about a condo that we're serving it up, which is interesting. About around the country in New Orleans. There is a website called Where Money Walks. And so when we're looking at a project, no matter where it is, we want to find out where the demographic or that target market is coming from. And you could go to wheremoneywalks.com, and you could see where the population is growing from. And what's interesting in here, most of the people buying or moving to New Orleans are from New York.
That's right.
And we looked at the zip codes. You were familiar with most of those zip codes because you're from New York, but and we're even seeing that. Right. We're seeing leads coming in from New York. Of course, we're targeting New York. Sure. But we're also seeing, even on the organic side, most of the people who are inquiring are coming from New York. And I assume that's because, the prices are just so much less here. And, you can't buy a 1,200 square foot apartment, penthouse, for $600,000.
You have to have a few million. You have to have a few $1 million in New York City. So that's one of the reasons why I came down here. It's like, well, I was living in a 650 square foot apartment, paying over $2,000 a month, and I'm like, for a lot less than that, I can have
with
a whole
3 kids.
house. Yeah, and that's crazy.
No
so
backyard.
Nothing. Yeah. No, it's all a little box. And so I mean, you can come out here.
Was it stairwell or you had an elevator?
I had an elevator. I was on the 4th floor, so it wasn't that bad. But
my brother-in-law, he's a doctor. He's a ENT. He was doing his fellowship in New York, and he had twins, Ryan. Mm-hmm. And dude, I think they lived on the 4th floor, no elevator.
Just walk up,
groceries.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with like the kids were in diapers, so it
was hard.
I can't imagine. That's hard living.
That's hard. It's hard. So like when
in Lafayette, we complain if we have to walk a block from parking. So
it was definitely like when I saw the numbers of what you can get down in Louisiana. I mean, it was a no-brainer. It's like, well, of course we're going to go down there. So, yes, when we looked at howmoneywalks.com. howmoneywalks.com, we were able to see that a lot of people were moving to New Orleans from Queens, from Brooklyn. So, yeah, we made targeted ads, and we targeted those zip codes in Queens, Astoria particularly, Williamsburg and Brooklyn, and then Midtown Manhattan, Lower East Side, stuff like that, because we saw a lot of movement there. So, the one thing I wanted to chime on here is that when people come into the squeeze page, we've been noticing that they're like a lot of them are not pre-qualified. They have a budget in mind, and I think a lot of it is that they don't even know if it's possible. So when we call them, it's about discussing the possibility. Right. It's about like, hey, it is possible, and we can help you, and this is how we're going to do it. That was one of the main things I'd had when I was starting out. When I was trying to move over, it's like, am I able to do this? And of course, my team here at Keaty Real Estate was like, yeah, you can actually, and you can have this, Right. So it opened my eyes because I'm in the dark, I'm in the mix. I'm in a different location. So having someone call me up and say, hey, we saw that you were looking on our website and you were looking around this range. What are your thoughts? And I would share that, and they're like, okay. And then there's some more questions, and I realized then that I'm like, oh yes, it is possible for me to do this. Yeah. It is possible for me to move and increase the quality of life of my family. Right. So for the people that we are capturing, let's say in this particular campaign, they're like, hey, we have some money, we want to invest it. Is it possible? And our answer is yes, it is. Here are the requirements. You meet those requirements. We can help you close this deal, So it's really, we're not bothering no one. I think we're opening up that conversation based off of this engagement, and hopefully helping them close out these deals and make their dream come true. Right. So that's what I think we're doing with these type of campaigns. And it's the same for any other campaign, whether it be, let's say, residential here in Acadiana. This particular case is residential short-term in New Orleans. But it's all a process, and there's all these little different bits of content that we have to create, these different sites that we have to create, and of course, ads that we put out.
Well, and we go way beyond that. So then we take this video, create little clips, and we're dropping it just everywhere.
Of course.
Everywhere we possibly can, which is doing two things, right? Like, so one, we're selling a property and we're trying to get the most exposure to this property, which we're accomplishing. If you're not doing this, then you're not getting the most exposure.
No, you're not.
You know, like you'll never be able to look back and say, man, you know, maybe we could have sold that property if we would have done some video or some more content. But I think it's important having a strategy, which is, I think, where you come in. I mean, this is very complex if you don't have a template. Like, this is something that you've refined over the last 4 years,
right,
knowing about real estate. What's interesting about you, and it works for every business, but like, real estate now. Like, I mean, we're building out a whole what we call Smart Academy, which is like basically getting your master's in real estate classes using video. And I know that just you and Andrew behind the camera today, like, you guys have learned more about real estate than most realtors. So you get the game and you understand what we're trying to do. And selling a property is the ultimate goal. But by doing that, you're also building authority and trust with your sellers and your buyers. And then that leads to more opportunities, which I think is really, really amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the big things that I would say to, let's say, my agents, and I used to say this early on, it's like, we have a product here and we're trying to get, sell this product for the client. But when we do content like this, we're trying to sell the product, but what I'm really trying to do, Jim, is to sell the agent. We're like, no, I want to sell you. I want basically your client to be over the moon and be like, oh my God, my agent did this, they did that, they did all these different things, they succeeded, they sold my place, and this is how they did it. Wow, right? But they're telling that to their friends.
Right.
They're telling that to their neighbors or to their family members. And now they're thinking about, man, maybe for my next project, I can go with this company, go with this agent. And then the people that are interacting with this type of content online, they're seeing the agent out there, and maybe they're going to be able to want to be like, I want to sell my house one day. I might want to go with this particular agent because of the efforts they put on. It's hard to feel it because it's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to say this is not a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But it does pay off in the long run because, yes, it's going to help you sell the property that you're representing right now, but it will bring more business down the line from other people that just saw what you were doing.
Right.
So it's all working together.
And we also have some proprietary things, like this landing page is something we've built out.
Sure.
We have available. If you don't have something like that, you need to go out and find something where you can actually create this same strategy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and squeeze pages is pretty simple. Almost, you just go to find a landing page company that has that, and then the process of the questions in order, instead of just having a block of give me your first name, last name, which we use mostly. Mm-hmm. This is just a different squeeze where it's called Typeform, right?
Yeah.
So you can just plug that into any of your landing pages to capture that.
So with this particular campaign, we're using two different kinds of squeezes, I guess you can say, or landing pages. We're using Typeform, which is the one we saw before, where it actually has like that conversational fillable form. And then we're using ClickFunnels, that's open source. Anyone can use these pages. Check them out, typeform.com, clickfunnels.com. And so we're using both of that. Now, we do have a proprietary system, which we call Keaty AI, which is what we're looking at right now on the screen. If Andrew, you can show them. This screen right here, this is our Keaty AI page, which what happens here is that when an agent lists something on the MLS, 12 hours after midnight, it appears with all the content, and then we can go in and optimize it with the content that we create. But it automatically, for instance, if you have photos on your MLS, it's going to appear here, and it's going to have all these different little bullets that we can then fill out and make sure we get all the pertinent information out there for the clients.
It's basically a custom website for each site, which is not new.
Each listing.
But the way that it looks is phenomenal. It looks a lot better than most companies I've seen do this. And what's unique about it is you can customize everything. So, it's
all these little tabs, we customize them, like, what are the documents? What is cost segregation, units and prices, floor plans, the worksheet, the
cost segregation. That would be a good blog too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so these are just like examples of what we're doing with these campaigns. The other leg of this too, which we haven't talked about, well, there's two parts of it really, is email and blogs. Email and blogs are very, very important because, for instance, if you have a piece of content and you put it on, let's say, Facebook or Instagram, right? We know that in 24 hours, it's probably going to lose relevance.
Yeah.
But if you take that content...
Let's show them the blog because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, if we go to our YouTube page, for example...
Go to keatyblog.com. Let's show them the blog.
keatyblog.com. I have the front the back end, but let's show the front end. Yeah. So when it comes to blogs, I mean, so this is our Keaty Real Estate blog.
And Danielle was like, Jim, you got to stop using blog. Nobody likes that word blog. So it's really a website.
It is a website. It is a website, but traditionally is known as a blog.
Or a vlog. A video blog, because we do everything in video. So
yeah. So let's see.
If you go down on the bottom, you'll see like all of our daily videos that we put out, like down here. Yeah. So, and I know inside of here we'll have the California building right here. We launched that. When was that? September 29th or
October 28th was for that. We started that campaign. Yeah. So with blogs, the reason why this is so important, guys, is that so we take these pieces of video and we put them on YouTube, right? Which is a search engine. So and we fill out those descriptions.
Which is the second best search engine in the world.
But Google owns both of them, which is pretty cool. And so we create these posts and we load them up with keywords, right? So to help SEO, search engine optimization. So when someone's searching for something and we have the descriptions that are very relevant to what we're talking about, it's going to pop up for them. And if it doesn't pop up there, it'll pop up in one of these blogs, and they'll find the blog which has the video already in there plus a write-up, And so, for example, if we go to let's check out the California building since we're on the topic.
We have a lot of projects too. If you check it out, like California buildings, if you are looking for an investment, we would love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
But we also have theforum.com, which is the new development, which is going to be the coolest development in Lafayette ever.
Right.
And that's going to be over where the old academy was. And we have projects like that going on where we're doing updates on a constant basis.
Absolutely.
And instead of keeping it just on YouTube, shooting it on YouTube or putting it on Facebook and Twitter, which we do all of that.
Of course.
We house it. It lives on this blog, which, tell us why is that important?
So it's just, there's like Jason Pantana of the Tom Ferry ecosystem says it best. It's like social media afterlife. You need to have it living somewhere in perpetuity, right? This creates a database and you just keep on create. So like, I guess we can break down. Should I break down what is our process?
Yeah.
So our process would be, let's say we get a piece of content. Let's say this video that we have here, any of the videos that we do, or this podcast. Let's say this podcast, right? So this podcast right now that we're recording right now will then, when we're done, we finalize it. I export it out, and then this podcast will go now to Spotify, Apple Podcast. We're gonna put the whole thing on YouTube. Right, we're gonna put that whole thing in an email from those links.
Those of you guys who don't know Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we rip the audio and we put it on audio so people can listen to it in the car. Or
and they can listen to it in the car, but we also have a video element too. So this video will be on Spotify now. They have incorporated that, which is really cool. So it lives there on that site, but it also is on YouTube. And then from that YouTube link, we're gonna take that and we're gonna put that into the blog. Right. And then from that blog, we're going to also put that into an email campaign, which we drip out every Friday. We have a email blast that goes out to our entire sphere of influence, which includes the updated podcast, the market updates, our new listings.
Increases the views on everything.
Yeah, because when they click on the links off the email, it goes to the blog.
And I don't think people understand like the value of that for our clients is huge, because now we've got, not only are we putting just your information, like of your house or your project, but we're giving interesting information about other things that's capturing them, and it's it just creates more exposure for all of our listings.
Absolutely, and the cool thing about that is that we have this long form content, and this can be with anything, even our listing videos, which can be a little long because some houses are larger than others, so we need more time to explain what's the value inside. We're also going to take that and then make little short clips of that, right? And those short clips, let's say those are 5-minute long, 16:9 formatted, that goes everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these places, all of it linking back to the blog. And then we make even shorter clips that are maybe 30 to 60 seconds long. And those go into our reels on TikTok, Instagram reels, YouTube shorts. And then those are all leading back to the blog, right? So we're basically creating like this whole little ecosystem, which we call the flux capacitor, because it's all kind of like that in Back to the Future, where it's all kind of like just working together,
right?
And it all just goes back there. And so, it's not just taking a little piece of content, putting on my Facebook page, and then forgetting about it. It continues to work over time for the duration of the campaign. So let's say, once we, when it comes to a listing, let's say we close out a listing, it closes, great, but that record is held in that site, and then we have that in our portfolio to say, hey, this is what we did for this particular property. This is the success that we have. And if someone else has a particular property that's kind of similar, we can say, hey, we've done that before. And this is how we did it. And we can show it to them. And it's met with like, wow, that's cool. We love it. We can't wait to work with you. And then that gets us jazzed up because we get to try to do it again, and we do it again, and we fine tune it, right? Because in my experience, nothing will ever be perfect. But I'm always trying to strive for that perfection. Right. And the only way we can do that is by continuously do it, continue to practice, and then tweak it along the way. It's the same thing we're trying to do with our agents that may be afraid to be in front of the camera.
Sure.
You're just going to keep on trying, keep on doing it, get a little better. Get some gear here and there, whatever.
And we're encouraging them from the day one.
Absolutely.
There's no reason to wait 2 years to get into this game. Like, start now. Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Get into the game. Do something is better than nothing.
Yes, because that's
And the more you do, the more confident you'll get. Because quite honestly, guys, a lot of this stuff, like some of this stuff we can do with our iPhones, and we do with our iPhones, and it works exactly the
Absolutely,
same.
100%.
Like, we still have the same process. We still have our website, our blog, all of that's exactly the same. But then some of this, like the California building, or when we're doing other projects like the forum, or maybe it's just a real high-end house, or maybe the sellers just want to get the absolute most for their house, and we go in and we spend, sometimes up to $10,000. Sometimes it's anywhere between $1,000 and $10,000. I mean, we did a bid the other day and it was $18,000. So, the only reason we can do that is because we have the proof. So,
right.
So it's about articulating that value and the importance of the video to your client so that they can see the value in actually spending that money. Like, it's got to be so crystal clear. It's got to be like, hey, will you give me $18,000 if I gave you 40? Well, of course you would.
Right.
So, but if you're just saying, hey, will you give me $18,000? I'm going to do this cool video. That's not going to fly.
No, they're going to be like, what?
Or even $1,000, to explain to the sellers, like, how this is going to make you more money. And that's the only reason to do this video is to make more money, especially for a seller. Like, no seller is going to just want to do a video just to make you look good. Like, it's about selling the house.
Sure.
And that's what ultimately it's about. And for us, it's about selling the house. For you, for an attorney or for a doctor or for whatever your business is, it's about making a sale, right?
Yeah, it's acquiring, it's engaging, acquiring clients, and building your brand.
We've gotten better and better at articulating that value, but only because we have more and more proof. Like, we can show you that our houses are selling for more money by a lot if you're doing all the stuff that we're doing. We're managing those variables to maximize the profits.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's just cool. I mean, it's really cool how, and you don't have to just do it. You don't have to do the big budget stuff. You can do the lower budget, but you need to feel, I mean, no matter what you're doing out there, you need to feel comfortable asking for the seller's participation in some of these transactions because otherwise you just can't afford to do it. Now, there's some other alternatives you can do. You can get paid at closing, and we've done that before, where it's like, hey, look, we know that this is expensive, and you may not have the funds now. We're willing to invest in it because we know that it's gonna work. Yeah. And so I think that comes over time. Not everybody can do that, but I love your saying a lot of times in some of our pitches where people don't have the funds, we say, hey, look, we'll do this. We win when you win. Like, we are in this together. Like, we make nothing. No commission, no video budget. There's nothing if there's not a sale, right?
Right, exactly.
And so
Yeah, we've definitely done that, and we've found some success there too. Now it's not right for every particular property, but there's some that we see that's like, oh, this is good. It's like, well, we want to be a part of the project, get us excited, so that'll get us a way to start the project. Because otherwise we won't be able to do it because of the price point. But yeah, so there's many times where we're just like, you know what, we're gonna risk it because we believe in the product. We believe in this listing, we believe in the seller, we believe in the agent. And we'll say, hey, let's just rock and roll with this. Yeah. And then once we sell this guy, then we can
pay our invoice.
Pay our invoice, and we're good to go. But like you said, I think a lot of people that we've talked to, they feel a lot more comfortable. Because one of the things that they'll ask me, be like, can you guarantee that this is going to work? And I'm like, no, I can't do that, right? Because there's a lot of other variables out there aside from our marketing that could affect the sale, whether it be price, interest rates
triple in 1 year.
There's a lot of that, so I can't guarantee it.
Well, we can guarantee selling at the highest price.
Sure.
We just don't know where that price is. We can guarantee, we can eliminate every single variable, and we know for a fact that we can sell a property at the absolute highest price. Mm-hmm. What we can't guarantee is that price. We don't know where that price is. But if you've done everything, if you do the video, you use these strategies, you do all of the engagement and the marketing that you have to, the traditional marketing, which is, that's a no-brainer. You have to be better than everybody else as far as traditional marketing. It's got to be on every syndicated site. You got to do those basics. But once you've done the basics, once you have the best photography, once you have the best video, once you've put it out in all the different possible ways, there's nothing else to be done. Then you can guarantee your client, when we sell this property, it will sell at the very highest possible price. Or in some cases, it's not about the highest price, it's about in the quickest time.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, if you leave off one or two or three of these things, then you'll never know, hey, this is the price that we got, the highest price. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to explain, like, my car saga. Like,
yep.
When you buy a car, every car, there's a blue book value for every car. Like, you and I have, a car, and whatever that value is a blue book value. But there's going to be cars that same year, that same model, the same color that are going to sell above that blue book value, and some that are going to sell below it. Well, which ones sell below? Well, it's going to be the ones that, maybe have a cracked windshield, or maybe the tires are worn down, or maybe it smells like smoke, or, maybe somebody had a party in the back. Whatever it is, that's why there's a reason why it's selling at the bottom. Or maybe it's not on autotrader.com and it's just got a sign in the yard and it's in your neighborhood.
Right.
Those are all the different variables.
Sure.
But the cars, that same vehicle could sell at the very top of the market. It's not destined to sell at that low price. It's because of all the other variables, right? So you can take that car, you can get a new windshield, you can get new tires, you can get it to a place where it sells higher than fair market value or the Kelley Blue Book value, but you've got to do the things, right? You got to do the work.
Yep.
It's like real estate. We know what properties sell at the bottom of the market. Well, they're the foreclosures typically. And why? Well, because there's terrible pictures. They're usually, there's no water or utilities on. You walk into it, they stink. That same exact house, we can completely renovate, and we can make more money for that client. So we can take a house that's selling at the bottom of the price, and people do this all the time. It's called a flip. You can buy a house at the bottom, put in the money, and then sell it, and you can make even more money back if you do it right,
Right.
But unless you're doing video, you're doing the traditional methods, you have the best photographer, you're doing the networking, you've got a good relationship with the other realtors, you can't be sure that you got the most amount of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about getting that product right. That's one thing that I think, like you said with the car, if you detail it, you get that whatever is messed up with it, fix it up real nice, and then you go in and then just like capture what you need to capture and blast that in front of everybody.
Right.
That's the deal here.
Blast it
and you want it in front of everybody.
You could do everything and not blast it.
Oh yeah.
And you're still not going to get the most amount of money.
Yeah, if you do all of that, let's say you do get it all detailed, change the tires, get the paint, fix it up. It's like it's a perfect car, no problems, and you just park it in front of your house with a little for sale sign on it. You might get a hit.
Yeah.
But it's you just have better chances if you leverage the tools that are available to you right now and put that sucker online and get it out there as wide of a net as you can to capture and engage with those people and bring them to your car and say, you know what, this looks amazing. I want to look at it. That's like let's say my job. Like I bring people to the door. We want them to the door. And now my job is done. Now it's the agent, who's a trained professional, to walk them through the spot and say, look at the place, or look at this automobile. Want to test drive it? Let's take it for a ride. What do you think? Now it's just about like them pondering and that negotiation to see if they want to buy it.
It's like the market. Like, what are they willing to pay?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't force somebody to buy a house. You can't fabricate a buyer.
No.
So we can't guarantee a buyer at a certain price, but we can guarantee the most amount of money for your house if you agree to work with us. And it's a work for the seller's perspective. It's not just on the buyer, right? Or the agent. It's a mutual it's a mutual job. Like we've got to have the sellers on board in order to get the most amount of money for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, with these type of processes and stuff we do, I mean, I guess the one thing I wanted to add was like the one thing I can guarantee, and this is what I tell any client of mine, is like I will get the most amount of eyes onto what your product is than anyone in my local industry. Yeah. Because we've been doing it over and over and over again for years, and we've basically cracked the code on how to do that. Yeah. And like Jim said, if you've done everything you possibly can, and we're always uncovering new ways. There's always new things that we find. They're like, this is cool. Let's go after that. Let's add it into our toolbox. If we just keep on making that better and optimizing that so that we can get more people and more eyes on what we're trying to accomplish, which in this case would be to sell units or sell a home. Yeah. And I think with those type of efforts and, the other part of it being what we also put out when it comes to brand awareness, I think that is created a healthy ecosystem for Keaty Real Estate and its agents. And the one thing is that it's never over. Job never ends. It's a continuous. It changes every day. You got to stay in it. So again, for my people out there, it is a lot of work. It is. Yeah. But if you're committed and you want to grow your business, I think that this digital age, where everything is right now, in particular video, is where everyone needs to be. We need to let go of our fear, because a lot of that stuff that we're talking about earlier about I don't know what to say or I don't know what the way, that's just fear. You're just afraid. I feel the same way, and I'm here talking to you on this camera. And after this, if you stood with us, you get to know who I am. And so now when we talk, you kind of feel a little more comfortable with me. Same thing will happen for you. You just got to abandon that fear, find people that are there willing and able to help you, and then go for it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's been fantastic. It's really good to get you in front of the camera.
Yeah,
you're always behind the camera doing the directing, and so it's nice to see you in front of the camera.
Well, I enjoy it.
Put your face where your mouth is.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoy it. I love it, and I like both of it, man. I just literally like to help people, and I like to show them how I can help.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot more, guys. There's so much more that we can talk about, and we could go on for another hour.
Yeah.
And we should do a follow up to this, because there's a lot we didn't talk about, which is actually how to spread it out in the ecosystem by placing things in different locations. So next time we'll talk about that, and maybe how to use a virtual assistant to help you accomplish that.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
We should get Charlie over here. And have him break down what you and him are doing.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions or maybe some ideas that you want to hear about, just drop them in the comments below, and we would love to talk about those things that you want to hear about in our next conversation.
Yeah, and we also like to see your videos. So share your videos, tag us in your videos. We'd love to get some, give you our feedback, and maybe even get some ideas together and collaborate, and for the betterment of the outcome for everybody, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. 110%.
Tommy, thank you, brother. Great
pleasure.
job. I appreciate you doing this, and looking forward to many, many more years.
Absolutely.
We're out.